Welcome back to the Budding Author Podcast with me, Simon Ward, your host. Today we have a special guest, and that is Stephanie, PL Riven, a new author. Got work out being queried at the moment. Stephanie, how I think we might say PL. I think might be easier.
Yeah, usually is what people call me. Yeah.
When you've wanted to sort of get into writing for a long time, haven't you? When you did quite well at sort of middle grade and that sort of stuff, I understand. How
Yeah.
did that get going for you?
Yeah. So I wanted to be an author for a long time. I started realizing I could be around sixth grade when I started winning little awards at my school, and got a couple things in my state too that were honors, and I was testing off the charts in writing, and my teacher came to me and said, "You realize this is something you can do for a profession." And
Well,
from
that's
that point
good.
on, I was like, this is what I want to do.
Oh, that's superb. What is your actual process? Do you sort of start with an idea, and then sort of plot it out, or are you more of a pantser? What's your process?
I've gone through a lot of processes, trying to figure out and hone it to me, because you read all these books and they give you great suggestions, but you really need to figure out your own process, which I've only very recently figured out how to do, which is I always start with a character. Has to be completely realized, see the character in my head. And from there, then I kind of investigate their life, and then everything kind of lays itself out. I'm really, really excellent at editing. I love editing. I am not so great at getting first drafts out, but I am very proud to say one of my friends had taken a challenge. She had challenged herself to finish a book in a month, and she did it. And I decided that I was going to do the same thing. And I am about a week and a half in, and I am in my second act, which is very unusual for me because I don't usually know where I'm going. I have a beginning and an end, but I never know the middle. But this time it's actually working, mostly because I keep asking why. I get to a point in the book and I ask why something happens, and immediately I write it down, and then I have like 7 other steps. So that's now my process. I think that I'm going to be able to churn out a lot of books. I have a lot of ideas, but the actual words on paper are what always slowed me down.
Yeah, the editing phase is quite difficult. You manage to, being sort of such a keen editor, do you manage to get the whole draft done before you start editing?
Oh, I'm definitely an edit as I go person. I
Oh,
have been guilty of re-editing chapters multiple times before I move on, which is what got me stuck for a very long time. My friends call me the queen of editing, which I wear as a badge of honor because I really do love it, and I think that's where the manuscript really starts to shine.
yeah, I think a lot of people try that, but I mean, it can sort of slow the process down.
Mhm.
Um, the advice I've been given is to forget editing and just get that draft written, fully written, and then go through stages of editing, because within the editing phases, some of your story may change.
Mhm.
So you may sort of take out a particular portion of your story. But if you spent a lot of time already editing that, you're sort of wasting time a little bit. But I mean, it's each to their own. It's just
Yeah.
that sort of suggestions that's been given to me. I do kind of enjoy editing. I've sort of got into Scribophile. I don't know whether you've heard of Scribophile.
Mm-mm. I don't know that one.
Scribophile, it's like a proofreading collective, really. So
Mm.
where you would proofread and critique other people's work and
Okay.
gain points for doing that, and then they
Interesting.
would use them. You then use those points to put yours in there for people to proofread and critique your work. I found that's quite good. I enjoy the critiquing side of things. It's maybe that's a direction I need to go rather than writing.
Yeah,
And if
there
you're
is.
such a voracious editor, maybe that's it. But we have so many stories in our head that we need to get out there, don't we?
Mhm.
Is your first book, she said, so said the Raven. Is that is that a standalone, or have you got a series connected with that?
Yeah, so it's actually not my first book I've written. My first book I wrote was when I was 16. It was a Georgian romp, a very early Bridgerton, if you will, that I will never let anybody see. But the
Is that
first
too
book,
steamy? Is that why?
oh no, it's because I literally at the point because I was really young when I was writing it, and I thought the idea was to have a lot of words. So I have 200,000 words that I was very proud that I wrote. And it's really fun. I actually do find that there are elements of my favorite characters in the books I write now. My mom keeps trying to get me to go back and rewrite the book. I'm like, no, I have new stuff to write. But the book that you're referring to, So Said the Raven, is the first one that I've actually let anybody else see.
Yeah.
And it has gone through multiple editing stages. I actually started it back in Nano in 2019. It took me like almost 7 years to get it finished, which is why I'm saying like it takes me a very long time to write something. So the fact that I am like almost 2 weeks in, and I'm over 11,000 words this morning, shows that I'm finally figuring out how to do this writing process without just editing all the time.
Yeah, well, for me, I think my first novel took me 4 years.
Yeah.
But then I think as you're sort of touching on, your process gets better. My second took me 2 years, and my
Yeah.
third took me just over 12 months.
Yeah.
So your process does get better, and that's what people say. It's you got to just keep writing. The more you write, the better you'll get. I wanted to touch on with you about pacing. That's a bit of a bugbear of mine. A lot of books I read, I do get frustrated with slow pacing, which your 200,000 word book would probably be fitting into that one, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So pacing wise, it was fast. I am really, really lucky that dialogue comes easy to me. So
Yeah.
my books are at that point they were very dialogue heavy, and I would forget to set the stage. So we were sitting in a blank room, more or less. And so the pacing, right? Yeah. So like the pacing was like a lightning fast, but it was kind of like, but where are we? But my book, So Said the Raven, I have cut over 300,000 words that I have written. It is now only 85,000 words. And it is paced very, very quickly. I always say it is paced like a thriller, but it does have the setting. But the book I'm writing now is very atmospheric. So it's a huge shift for me. Usually I write plot driven. Character driven is a very different world.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you write.
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think to keep a reader, because I think attention span of people is far shorter now than it's ever been.
Yeah.
So overly descriptive works get left by the side, I think.
Yeah.
So you need to hook the reader and keep the reader with you. I like to think mine are quite fast-paced and energetic reads, and it's nice when you have reviewers saying that they couldn't put it down and they read it in one sitting.
That's
which,
it.
which is fantastic. I could never do that. I sort of read probably about 8 pages and then I need to stop in most cases. But maybe that's because of pacing that causes the problem. Your day job, at the moment you're homeschooling, aren't you? Were you working previously before your children came along?
So I had wanted to be a professor. So I have a master's degree in history. And I thought that was going to be the path I wanted to go down. But it turned out that my son started reading before he was 2. And he was in 4th grade by the time he was 2nd grade by the time he was 4. So it kind of, perpetuated my need to like be home. And my daughter was the same way. So we ended up wanting to, primarily homeschool, which is why being an author is fabulous because you can do that at home. So I think that's pretty much where I'm going to be, and I'm going to use my academia in my writing.
Yeah, I think it's important to have a partner that is sympathetic to that. Do you have a partner that sort of looks after the finance side of things?
Oh, absolutely. My husband is a godsend. He is wonderful. My website, plriven.com, he actually coded the whole thing for me.
Oh,
He's in the tech side, and he reads a lot of nonfiction. So he's not really familiar with the fantasy side, but he is really enjoying learning about it. And I could not be, happier. I'm so blessed to have somebody that really supports me.
so he's quite a big champion of yours then. That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing we need to touch on, at the moment,
Mhm.
it seems every way you turn, we're listening and hearing about artificial intelligence, AI.
Yep.
You can now create stories with AI. For a new author attempting to gain traction,
Mhm.
it's quite difficult, isn't it? The AI world, is that going to kill the traditional creators?
Oh, I don't think so. Absolutely. I don't think that at all. I think that you can, like, my son does use AI in his school where he learns how to write and it teaches him the evolution, but it would never pass for something that is actually human written. You
Yeah.
can't, it doesn't have the intricacies, it doesn't have the emotional beats, it doesn't have the heart behind it. So personally, I'm not concerned about it. I know a lot of my friends are very worried about it, but then I also know a
Yeah.
lot of people that are very established that I talk to, and they're not concerned about it at all.
But I get what you're saying about sort of it doesn't have the depth, but
Mm-hmm.
with seems like not every year, more sort of every month, it's sort of advancing to a new level every month. So,
Mm-hmm.
like for example, with cover design,
Mm-hmm.
cover design, is that something that you've sort of gone to yet, or you've not covered that yet?
No. Right now, I'm going down the traditional route, so that's somebody else's problem to get the cover for me. I do spend a lot of time on Pinterest, so I have like my dream covers that I will pull a Pinterest picture because I'm obsessed with Pinterest. But no, I do. I have friends that have self-published, and I know that that's been something. One person I had a horror story that they had actually purchased a cover from someone who said they were an artist, just to find out that it was actually AI generated, and that several other people had exactly the same cover, just a different.
Same here. Same here.
Yeah, no way.
Somebody did some covers for me, and
Yeah.
I asked for some changes. I had some edits,
Hmm.
and when I dug deeper, I realised that they'd used AI to create it,
Really?
which
Someone that
is
you hired professionally?
where it was a student that was trying to get into design.
Oh, okay.
And I like the covers. I like the covers, but when I wanted changes, she was sort of having more and more problems with the changes I wanted because,
Yeah.
of course, she hadn't created every single bit of it.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Um, so on the cover design, I can understand where AI is now replacing cover designers,
Hmm.
because we can now go on to Twitter and create images, and
Yeah.
some of the images are a bit rubbish, aren't they? But
Yes, they are. They're, yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
but the fact is, they're getting better. They're getting
Hmm.
better and better very, very quickly, and I think that's got to be a concern. That's got to be a concern. And just back to the writing side of things, you traditionally querying.
Hmm.
Why didn't you go down the self-published route?
Because I don't know how to, I can market to a degree, but I'm not very good at it. And I am, I want to stay where my expertise is, which is in the creation.
Yeah.
And let somebody else be an expert in the stuff that I'm not an expert in. And I'm not a salesman. I don't sell well. And I think that, it's been my dream. I want to go to Barnes and Noble more than anything and see my book on the shelf along with Jim Butcher, and to venture out. I think at some point I will self-publish. I think there are some things that I would like to self-publish, but right now my focus is on the traditional publishing.
Okay, it's not a bad. It's good to start out that way. I think it's good
Hmm.
to start out that way. I think many traditional publishers now, they'll sort of do the process,
Hmm.
but then it'll be yourself that will need to do the marketing.
Yeah, that's I think the social media is massively important. Podcasts like this, having a presence, having a community, I think that's where it really comes into play. But at least I don't have to worry about the cover design. Like if I can go self traditionally publish, I can let somebody else worry about those types of things and the formatting.
And what we've got to be careful of as well is vanity press and that sort
Oh
of
yeah.
thing. Have you come across those?
I have, yes. Those freak me out. I'm really, really particular about anybody that I engage, making sure I vet and talk to other people, and that's I think where the community comes into play too. Because one person will find out that something looks shady, and then you'll have 7 or 8 people that go and vet it for you, and then it's interesting. It kind of falls off the whatever is the problem, the agents or vanity press. It keeps people, I think, more honest.
Yeah, I think there's a lot out there. On the vanity press side of things, I thought it was a traditional publisher, and they
Yeah.
came back and said, "Oh yeah, we really love your book. We'd like to produce that for you," and then they wanted $5,000. And it's like, hang on,
Like, wait a second, that's
that's not really what I was looking for, to be honest. I was looking for sort of a shared deal, really, sort of.
yeah.
So it's a difficult road to go down. We've got to be careful as well of sort of promoters. The amount of people I've had sort of want to promote my book, and I can remember I spoke to Tori McAllister, a guy we had on the show, really great guest, and he said to me that if people want to promote his book, the first thing he says is, "Have you read my book?"
Good
Which
question.
a lot haven't. But then because of AI now, people can sort of quickly put a couple of details in and say, "Yes, I did read your book."
That's true.
And when they haven't, so I've sort of gone down the route of quizzing them. Say, which character did you like most?
Love it.
Who's your favourite character? What was it about that character that you liked the most?
Yeah, I love that.
And then I get them on a face-to-face, so you
Yeah.
can see who you're dealing with. And most of them have a real struggle with the language. And I know I've sort of got an English language, which is sort of maybe not everybody would understand. But if you want to promote my book or promote any book, you need to understand the spoken word in a much bigger way.
Completely.
So it's a scary old world out there, PL. It's a scary old world.
It's
And but I wish you well with it. It's a big challenge. It's a big challenge. And I've had a good response on sales, particularly in the last couple of months. But as far as supporting me personally, that I'm not quite at that level yet. So there's still time. There's still time. With plenty more in the works. But it's been great having you on.
Thank you so much.
And good luck with it. And when you've got a deal, message me and tell me all about it.
For sure. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you asking me to come on.
It's no problem at all. We've got all PL Riven's contact details in the description. So check those and keep up to date. Yeah. Nice one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Cheers.
Bye-bye.